Duper racing model. It's a standard Model R1. The internals in the front forks are untouched. It's as you would buy from the showroom. It's unheard of nowadays to race a bike like that.
Really?
There's just a rear shock in the back. They've got an exhaust pipe on. The standard header pipes, not even a full race system on that bike right there. They've just taken the catalytic converter off and shoehorned a piece of pipe in the background to make that bike get out there on the track.
Thanks for that insight. Well said. Mike Jones on his final lap. Checkered flag is waiting for the rider of machine number 46. He certainly is the benchmark here thus far this weekend. You know, you think about Falzon, he couldn't have done more in his career, really. Former Superstock Australian champion, 2 times winner of the Australian Supersport title, but it's all about Mike Jones, and the checkered flag flies. He wins race 1 at Morgan Park Raceway in the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. The winning margin, a little more than 17 seconds. That is domination as we look at the final classification in race number 1 for Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance.
Yeah, that was an amazing race for the man on the Kawasaki, Mad Mike Jones there. He pretty much wanted to show what he could do on that machine, and he proved that he's going to be the man to beat. There's still some more races to go here this weekend, but the Yamaha boys are going to have to find something if they're going to beat Mike Jones this weekend.
They are indeed. It's hot, thirsty work. Temperature in the mid-20s here in Warwick, Queensland. Let's head down to Bryony Ingerson.
Mike, congratulations on the race win. It was a dominant performance there, but you didn't quite have it all your own way on the start there.
Yeah, no, it was a really great race. Yeah, obviously the start, the guys got ahead of me there, but I wasn't too worried so much. I was happy to, you know, just wait that little bit of time and get past them on that first lap there, I think. Managed to get past, we come around for the second lap. So once I got in front, it was pretty easy then. It was more or less just like the practice and the qualifiers from the rest of the day, just pump out consistent lap times and just try and work on my riding and improve and see how big the gap I could make it.
Well done to Mike Jones. Thanks, Bryony. Congratulations to Motorcycling Australia in conjunction with Yamaha, Suzuki and Honda, supplying the 50cc bikes for the Come and Try Day today for the little kids. A break at Morgan Park. Back in a moment.
On Fox Sports, this is the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. Our coverage presented by Yamaha Motor Finance, Yamaha Motor Insurance, Motul and Pirelli.
Well, unlike various racing categories around the world, Australian Superbikes features an open tyre category, meaning there's plenty of choice for riders and also given the opportunity for manufacturers to be involved. And I'm here with Don Nicholas, the product manager for Pirelli Moto. Don, first of all, talk us through the range of tyres that Pirelli offers for riders here this weekend at Morgan Park.
Sure, Bryony. We've got a range of tyres available to riders in the Superbike and the Supersport class, also the Moto3 class, but we'll probably talk a little bit more about the Superbike and Supersport in terms of what's available and what we can show your viewers today.
How many compounds are you allowed to provide for riders to choose from?
So for the Australian Superbike Championship, we're allowed 2 front compounds and 3 rear compounds. So that gives us enough choice and the riders enough choice for different conditions at different tracks around Australia. So a tyre that we use in Western Australia, the compound might be a little bit different to what we use here at Morgan Park in Queensland.
Now, I understand that if a rider chooses a Pirelli tyre for one round, they don't necessarily have to stick with that. They can really chop and change as often as they like. Absolutely.
So, yeah, for the Australian Superbike Championship, that's what the rider's choice is. So we hope they stick with Pirelli and hopefully we give them the right information so that they can get up to speed and maybe do their best times on Pirelli, which is our goal for the riders for this weekend. Yeah.
All right, so you've got an example here, a sample, I should say, of the tyres that are allowed this weekend. Yep. Just talk us through them.
So, Bryony, the Diablo Superbike range, we have SC1, SC2 front compound. SC is always our special compound, so anything with the different number on it is a different compound for different conditions, those sorts of things. So SC1, SC2 front. On the rear, SC0, SC1 and SC2. And in terms of the way to tell, coloured stripes is the easiest way to tell. So white for 0, blue white for 1 and green white for SC2. This weekend the most common choice is SC1 front, with the SE0 rule. For Super Sport, we need to have a road legal tyre, so it needs to be DOT approved for the Super Sport part of the Australian Superbike Championships. So again, on the front we have SE1 and SE2, SE0, SE1, SE2 on the rear. So you can see there's a pattern in terms of compounds that are available. These are the standard production compounds available to all riders, not just here, but again at any track day and those sorts of things. And a part of the solution range used in World Super Sport Championship and World Superbike as well. So what they're learning and developing there, we can offer to our riders here, which is really exciting and fantastic for the riders.
There is no doubt the Supersport class is one of the most fiercely contested categories in road racing. The Australian National Championship provides riders with a valuable pathway to eventually race superbikes. One of the riders currently showing great promise in Supersport is New South Wales-based racer Kane Burns.
My breeding ground was back in the dirt track days. I was racing at Green Hill Speedway, like the home track of really Andrew Pitt and Sean Geronimi, a lot of asphalt and great road race riders across the world. But I started off doing that and I won a couple of Australian titles and state titles, and then it was actually Wayne Gardner who gave me an opportunity to ride his bikes and cross across into road racing, and here we are today.
Kane was racing dirt track against Wayne Gardner's son Remy, who now rides in the Moto3 World Championship, when the Wollongong Whiz made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I was racing with his son Remy and doing a lot of riding with them, and we both got on together, and he was looking for someone sort of to go through the ranks with his son and ride together, and the opportunity came up and away it went from there.
Upon making the transition from dirt to asphalt, Kane Burns says he instantly fell in love with the sport and he enjoyed immediate success.
My first year in road racing, I won a national 250 junior title, and then the following year I got runner-up in the same championship, and after that Wayne actually moved over to Spain and left his mechanic Tony here in the background with me, and we decided to make the move into 600 Super Sport racing, and here we are today.
Tony's, you know, a bit of a guru. Tell me about what he does for you and how invaluable he is, you know, as a team member.
Yeah, he's irreplaceable, really. Like, the knowledge he's given me and the contacts he introduces me to, it's unreal. Really, the guy's a legend of the sport.
Despite his success at a relatively young age, Kane acknowledges his career is a work in progress.
Certainly getting more results. I've only really just gotten to the front of the Super Sport class in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, and need to get a bit more behind my name in the road race ranks now and hopefully progress somewhere in the near future.
Burns sees his time in Supersport playing a vital role in his development to establish a career in the premier classes.
Probably we'll look at either going into Superbike racing as I'm a bigger guy, or otherwise probably into the Japanese side of things, as Tony done all his racing over there, and he's got a lot of contacts over there and rides that we could probably move into.
A career in Europe is definitely on Kane Burns' radar, but he's realistic about what it takes to achieve.
You've got to be getting paid to go there. No Australian can realistically ride in Europe and fund it off their own back. Like, if I had the sponsorship to do it, it'd be a great opportunity. Like, the world racing is certainly in Europe at the moment, but for us, funding isn't there, and second to that would be Japan, and if I can move up through the ranks over there and then cross across when I'm ready.
So next up at Morgan Park Raceway in Queensland, it is time for the first of 2 Supersport races, a fantastically competitive formula of racing in the opening round at Phillip Island. This class putting on a tremendous show, and the points leading into this second round of the championship sees Michael Blair on top in advance of Callum Spriggs, then Taylor and Fyron Van Buren rounding out the top 4, 20 points adrift of the leader Michael Blair. Conditions good, And the grid positions now on screen, and young Braden Elliott, who rides the Suzuki GSXR, is going to start on pole. But those times, Steve, certainly reflect how competitive this class is.
Yeah, 600s are always going to be very tight around this circuit. It's tight and bumpy, but this track bodes well to close racing in this 600 class. I'm really looking forward to the hard-fought race that we're about to have. The times have been close all through practice, and it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top.
Yamaha bringing you the action in Supersport. Great to have your company. Tremendous shot of the pole sitter, Braden Elliott. Number of starters involved in this one, 19 bikes. And we are set for a start, waiting for the green. Elliott closest to camera, began well. Also the Queenslander away in slick fashion, Troy Gunther aboard the Kawasaki as they charge down through turn 1 at Morgan Park. And no surprise to see Braden Elliott, the New South Welshman, leading on the Suzuki.
Yeah, that was a great start by Braden Elliott. Got the whole shot into turn 1 and then flicked it right down into Suzuki corner. Suzuki leading in Suzuki corner.
Fyron Van Vuren, the West Australian, up into second. He was very competitive at Phillip Island in the opening round aboard the Kawasaki. Yeah, there he is on bike 21.
Yeah, he sits 4th in the points at the moment, so this is an important race for him to get some good points and perhaps move up. Callum Spriggs from Phillip Island, who sits higher up in the championship, not racing this weekend because of injuries he's sustained in Malaysia. So important race for Van Vuren.
On board there briefly with Chris Quinn, another New South Wales-based rider aboard the Cooper's Pale Ale Yamaha. It was a tremendous onboard shot. Meanwhile, the Hankook Tyres Australia entry, the Suzuki of Braden Elliott, is proving that he is the man to beat here. Meanwhile, we're on board with Alex Phillips. Of course, Robbie Phillips' son. We profiled the father and son duo as a part of our coverage from Phillip Island. High-speed freight train down the main straight here at Morgan Park. Meanwhile, and Braden Elliott still in charge of proceedings, back on board again with Phyllis.
Yeah, good to see Phyllis out there. Of course, he's taken a little bit of time to get used to the 600 again. He raced in a 1000cc machine overseas for the last couple of years, but he's certainly starting to come to grips with it, and he's got Radar Cullen with him on board this weekend, helping him out as well. So Alex Phyllis with a good crew behind him this weekend.
This is a good race. Elliott through the right-hander, and full credit to Van Vuren, the West Australian, very competitive, losing nothing to the race leader at the present time.
Yeah, well, he needs to be. I mean, he's sitting pretty in the championship at the moment, is the number 21 Van Vuren from Western Australia, and you've got to think, where are we heading next, David?
We're heading to Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia, May 22 to 24.
So if he can go good here, you never know. By the end of Barbagallo Raceway, he could be the man leading the championship. A lot of racing between now and then, though, and Braden Elliott certainly is trying to keep him behind him at the moment.
Troy Gunther runs in 3rd position on the Kawasaki. Unfortunately, Van Vuren not close enough on the rundown Yamaha Motor Finance straight to get into the slipstream and try and effect a pass on the race leader. So Elliott, he got a superb run out of Suzuki corner, turn 10, and that set up his charge down the main straight.
Kane Burns just there on the number 30 Suzuki in the background as well. Whoa! That is tight, and he's really trying to make a move up the outside. He's got a good drive around the outside. He's gone past.
Yeah, Van Vuren, new race leader. Race 1 of Super Sport. What about that from Braden Elliott?
Yeah, I don't think Braden Elliott saw that coming, but Van Vuren got tough up on the inside and made the pass and made it stick.
Here's a look at the start of the race again for Suzuki on the replay. Again, a couple of different angles.
Kane Burns got a good start there too from the second row of the grid. Just got into 3rd place there.
And that, a fast or normal speed replay, if you like, of how the lead changed here. That was spectacular.
Yeah, Braden Elliott outbraked himself into the Suzuki corner. That allowed Van Vuren to get up the inside there. So a little bit of a mistake by Braden Elliott there. But I'll tell you what, he's come on strong, has Braden Elliott, with Phil Tainton in the background in that team now, helping him out, and it's certainly showing the strength of him.
Tell you what, the Kawasaki, it's a competitive package in super sport racing. So again, down the straight they come, and out of the slipstream moves Braden Elliott, who takes control of the race again.
Yeah, that was a good move by Braden Elliott. Got good drive out of the last turn, up the main straight, and then outbraked him into turn 1. Troy Gunther there on the other Kawasaki sits in 3rd place at the moment. Another young man with international experience. He's raced in Japan on a Moto 3 bike for a couple of years. So moved back here now and on the 600. First year on the 600, and he's showing what he's made of, because he's sticking it with these boys as well on the number 56 machine there. Kane Burns is just starting to close that gap up now. Tony Hatton helping him out. And he had a good result at Phillip Island too, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, Burns, well, I won't say he was discovered by Wayne Gardner, but Wayne certainly played a major role in his career early on, teaming him up with his own son Remy in dirt track action. We all know what a fantastic nursery dirt track is for future road racing stars.
Yeah, well, when you're coming out from that pedigree, David, there's big things in front, and he's got himself in a good spot right here at the moment in this 4-way group for the lead of this race.
Elliott from Tumut in New South Wales. Also grew up on the dirt track scene.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's not the first time that most of these guys have been racing against each other. There might have been a different substance under the wheels a few years ago, but they're still at it now on the tarmac in 2015.
So Kane Burns on the orange machine, the Suzuki, is 4th. 56, Troy Gunther is 3rd. Of course, Van Vuren is 2nd. But that's the guy they're stalking, the rider of machine 51. They're out after him, but right now he's a little bit too slick for them.
Yeah, Van Vuren just sitting there now, but as you say, Braden Elliott just starting to open up a gap. Of course, you have to be so physically fit at this circuit. There is not 1 minute for rest. I mean, just look at how much these bikes move around. It's the very, very bumpy circuit, and although these are only 600s, the straight is so short that you don't get a time for rest. So these guys have to be physically strong to complete a race here.
Absolutely. Well, we saw Mike Jones when he was interviewed by Briney at the end of the first race in Superbikes. He's only 19 years of age, super fit, and he looks spent.
Yeah, well, he's got another one of them to do later on today, so he can be spent later on tonight.
Our battle continues. You can see the lead that Elliott has. Into the main straight and charging up the hill. 21 is still in 2nd, Van Vuren, but he's by no means comfortable. Troy Gunther making a heck of a battle out of this. And despite dicing with each other, they're not really losing touch that much with the race leader.
No, they're not. But what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing Gunther in 3rd on the green Kawasaki there. He's looking tighter than Van Vuren in front. He's looking neater. And when you're tighter and neater, it means that you've got more grip and you're expelling less effort. So, oh! Van Vuren's down. What a disappointment for him. That's so... not what he needed going into Western Australia.
No, terrible. And he was so competitive, keeping it all together. And that is awful, but at least he's up and okay.
Well, it's made it a lot easier for this man now. That Troy Gunther has got some clear track in front of him. It's going to be interesting to see if he can close that gap down. There's still a few laps to go.
Yeah, lap 9 of 14. And Elliott still in charge here. There's the 2nd place machine, Troy Gunther, the Queenslander. So it's the Kawasaki chasing the Suzuki around the Morgan Park Raceway. Thyron Van Vuren, the West Australian, a spectacular exit from this race. Caution flags on display.
Yeah, that was definitely not what he needed. He's just come in there, lost the front. The front's gone in, bang up over the ripple strip, and a little bit of work to do before race 2 for this man. He gets up straight away, perfectly fine, but not the result he needed.
And we thank Suzuki for its support of the championship and our television coverage on Fox Sports presenting the replays. And Elliott, well, you'd have to think that our 2nd place rider Gunther, currently on screen, will need a minor miracle to snatch victory here. He's very competitive, no question about that. but doesn't appear to be eating into the lead of our rider on 51 now. We've got a bike down. It is Harrison Cox, is it not, on 88 as we check out.
Oh, that's looking like a shoulder injury to me. That's, yeah, he's landed on that shoulder. Not a nice way to go down. He's run into the back of the bike in front.
Oh, there's another one too.
That's Mark Chiodo on the Caterpillar R6.
Now the rider on screen at the present time, Harrison Cox, is in a world of hurt. We wish him all the best. Meantime, bike's back in the pit area. Red flag conditions. Let's go down to Briney.
Well, Phil, Braden's deep in concentration behind us, so we won't disturb him. But how are you feeling about his race so far?
Oh, look, I think he's doing a fantastic job. You know, like, it's only his second year of road racing. He's adapted so well. He's, you know, fortunately enough, his father is good friends with me and myself and Gilesy, so, you know, we're doing what we can. Gilesy's doing a fantastic job at giving him rider advice. I'm doing what I can technically with the bike.
There's Briney with Phil Tainton. Needs no introduction in this sport. Was at the helm of the official Suzuki road racing team for many seasons. Enjoyed great success. So we now see restart of this super sport race. Braden Elliott again quickly away. You can see the lap counter. We're on lap 11 of 14 following that series of crashes and some nasty ones as well. So Elliott, same players really here. Gunther pursuing him on bike 56.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what they can do this time. Just a 4-lap sprint. Gunther's a lot closer now than he was in race 1, and with Van Thuren not in the way, it's going to be interesting to see if he can take it to Braden Elliott out in front. Kane Burns got a good start that time too.
On board with Chris Quinn there briefly. It was a terrific onboard shot. Of course, Chris riding the Yamaha. As we focus our attention up front, Braden Elliott in advance of Troy Gunther. Now again we take an onboard shot from the machine of Alex Phillips, and Phillips is now running in the top half dozen in this race.
Yes, you can see Phillips there. Got a bit of work to do to get up the front. He didn't get the best of starts, but and you can't afford to do that in a 4-lap sprint, which is what this is, because basically it's going to be over in a flash. So he needed to get a good start if he was going to be up near the front. But as they head on to the start-finish straight, the Yamaha Motor Finance straight, for the first time of this second part of the race, it's the two Suzukis, 1 and 2.
Yeah, Kane Burns in second. Again, having a look out the back of the Quinn bike. He's got problems straight off the racing line.
Yeah.
And that was because he was trying to avoid that rider who has dropped it. Well, it's been an incredible action-packed super sport event.
Yeah, that's what happens when you push these things to the absolute limit. You know, especially at a track like this, you can't afford to run a millimetre offline. You run so close together that if somebody else does make a mistake, you've got to be careful not to get caught up in it.
Look from a different angle. On the Suzuki replay, it's Brenton Hyde, the New South Welshman, dusted, busted and disgusted. And of course we saw Quinn, and that's the other bike you can see in the shot. We were riding on board with him at the time. Yeah,
Quinn just took his eye off the ball and had nowhere to go, ran off the track. If he'd probably kept his eye on the line, he probably might have been able to make that stick and stay on, but not to be for him in this race today.
So a fascinating conclusion to this race on lap 12 of 14. Elliott, the hand-cooked tyres, racing Suzuki. You can see he's out to about a 10 bike length lead in advance of Kane Burns, and Troy Gunther is right behind the second place rider on board for Yamaha, the onboard of Alex Phillips.
Round the left-hander here. It's a blind left-hander, leads to a downhill. It's a nice corner, uses all the track there, does Alex Phillips. Good job by him.
Down to Motul corner. Then they run up to turn 6, which is Pirelli corner.
Well, there's no disputing that these Suzuki GSXRs don't have a sweet chassis. Both of them up at the front, and very bumpy circuit. They're both running really well at the moment. Kane Burns is right on the rear of Braden Elliott, out in front leading this race. I thought we might have seen a little bit more from Gunther, doing a good job, but just dropping off. Braden Elliott really making that pace fast at the moment.
Yeah, Phyllis. Oh, That is epic onboard action.
Hippie around the outside. That wasn't going to work there.
Phyllis running 5th on the racetrack. That bike that he almost came into contact with, I think you'll find, is Aidan Coote, the Victorian last racing lap at Morgan Park Raceway at Warwick in Queensland. First of 2 races for the mighty Super Sport category, and this might not be all over just yet. Kane Burns is coming at the race leader.
This is the race of the tuners as well. Tony Hatton versus Phil Tainton here. 2 great Australian race tuners working on 2 different Suzukis. So I bet both of those guys have got their fingers crossed.
That is a very good point. Hatton in the corner of Kane Burns. Tainton we've already heard from. He's mentoring the race leader, Braden Elliott, along with the great Sean Giles.
Elliott's just looking that little bit too strong for Burns here in this race today, though. Especially not to do it once, but twice in this 2-part.